Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Bang on the door. I'm the oldest, they're screaming, so I go answer the door. And I answer the door, and standing there is this giant man. It was this little boy, and he's holding this huge box of food. And beside him on the ground was a black pot with an uncooked turkey in it. And he said, "Is your father home?" And I said, "Just one moment." I was like, this is a gift from God. This is gonna change it all. This is gonna make my mom and dad happy. It's gonna be unbelievable. So I go, my father is screaming at my mother through a closed door to the bedroom door. And I said, Dad, there's a guy at the door. And he goes, "You answer the door." I said, "I did. He's got to see you." So I kind of teased. I said, "Dad, you gotta come." So he said, "Fine." He made one last yell at her, and he walks to the door. And I'm waiting there, just can't waiting to see his face. And my dad opens the door, and this man's standing there with this big box of food. And my father did not get happy. He looked at this man, and he raised his voice to him, and he said, "Look, we don't take charity." And then he took the door to slam it in the man's face. But the man was a good-sized man. He put his foot there and smacked his foot and bounced back over. He said, Sir, this is not charity. Everybody has tough times. Somebody knows you're having a tough time. And they want you to have a magical Thanksgiving. I'm just the delivery guy." He said, "Please take this." And my father said, "We don't take charity." He went to slam it again. And this time the guy put his shoulder against it so he couldn't do it. And then my father's staring at him. It's like these two males starting to get this intense mode. And one just trying to give a gift, and I'm freaking. And then the guy said something that I'll never forget, and in moments I wished he hadn't said. But he found a way to force my father. He's holding this thing, and he looked at me, and then he looked at my dad, and he said, "Don't make your family suffer because of your ego." Now my dad's level of energy increased, but he was also trapped. You get it? So he took the food, slammed it on our table, and slammed the door in the man's face, and never even thanked him. And then I thought, years I figured out, our whole life is shaped by decisions. That's what we've talked about today, right? But there's 3 decisions you're making every moment you're alive. And the way you make these 3 decisions shapes your destiny. First decision we're all making every moment is, what are you gonna focus on? What are you gonna focus on? I realized that my father's life and my life ended up very different because we made that day 3 decisions very differently. He decided to focus on the fact that he has not fed his family. And the second question you gotta decide, every moment you're alive, including this moment, what are you gonna focus on? Second question is, as you're focusing on, what does this mean? What does it mean? And the bottom line on meaning is, if you think about it, you get to make up the meaning, and most people pick the worst one, don't they? That day, my father decided to focus on the fact he hadn't fed his family, and I know what meaning he gave because he said it out loud over and over again, that he was worthless because he had not taken care of his family. And then the final, most important decision you make every moment you're alive, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I'll tell you what he decided to do. He decided to leave our family shortly thereafter, which at the time was the worst experience of my life. It was the most crushing experience I felt. I realized in that moment that the worst day of my life, my father leaving, had actually been the best day of my life. Because if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't be here today. And now because of that, I'm getting to live this life. And I have the desire and the drive and the want to give it this way.
Life is going smoothly, then the bottom falls out. Everything is coming up roses, then the bottom falls out. That life starts going your way finally, then the bottom falls out.
And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is.
You worked on a job 35 years and now you're laid off. You planned for life to work a certain way and then the bottom falls out. You're looking for this, and God sends that. That even though you love God, does not mean that the bottom will not fall out.
You might be going through a season, since darkness is the absence of a thing. You might be going through a season of the absence of a thing that you legitimately need, but it ain't over.
You have to be awfully immature to think that every day is going to be a good day. Some days are better than other days. And some days, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life.
You may have to function for a while without the absence of the thing you adore. But it's not over. It's just that God has created the treasures of darkness. And in order to create the treasures of darkness, he has to take away light so that he can incubate what he's about to do in your life.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges, they're going to do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in.
In the end, we are only as strong as the adversity that we overcome. The pain of the adversity will eventually subside, but the lesson will always remain. And that lesson will strengthen you to endure your next battle, this time stronger and wiser than before.
Line up those problems and confront them. Face them. Do not let them bring you down. In fact, let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you. Let their demands and their trials make you stronger. Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow.
The way you handle your good years will determine if you survive the bad years. In other words, you must learn to maximize the positive. If you don't learn how to maximize the good times and minimize the bad times, then you won't make it through the family.
Victory begins in the dark. And we all go through these times where we don't think it's going to work out. Seasons where nothing is changing. We're being our best, but the business is not growing. The fact is, light is on the way. What God promised you is en route. You've been believing for things to change in your marriage, your finances, with an addiction. It seems permanent. You've already entered a new day. You've already passed midnight. You can't see it yet, but victory is on the way.
Life and business is like the changing seasons. You cannot change the seasons. That's impossible. You can't rearrange the seasons. The seasons are going to come however they're going to come, and you cannot change that. So you cannot change the seasons. But make this note, you can change yourself. That was the message I got when I was 25 years old with someone who took the time to teach me. You can change yourself.
Now, instead of complaining about the dark, have a new perspective. The dark means the sun is on the way up. The promise is about to come forth. Who can stop the sun from rising each morning? Who can keep light from breaking forth over the horizon? All the forces of darkness cannot stop what God has ordained for you. They cannot keep what He promised from coming to pass. In the face of that darkness, when you don't see any light, get in agreement with God.
See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. The real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman.
Adversity is a gift. Embrace it. Trying to avoid adversity would be like trying to avoid the tide while swimming in the ocean. But like the ocean, if you can learn to embrace the tide of adversity, you will eventually learn to let it lift you up, and you can ride the wave to shore unscathed. And in that moment, take a look around, because the view that you have after you've overcome your adversity is absolutely breathtaking.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
Purpose. What's your purpose? Why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing all the hard stuff? Why do you get up every day and look for motivation? And I don't know what yours is, but I know mine. You know, I hear people say, oh, you got the fancy car, and you got the jet, and you got the wife, and you got the kids, and you got the life, and you get to travel and speak. None of those things, because we all know the people that have the 6 or 7 or 8 or 12 or 20 cars. I was looking at this house the other day. It's got a 20-car garage. And I'm like, dude, why would you need a 20-car garage? Certainly, I get it. I get it that somebody's got so much money and so much wealth that they just have to continue to buy stuff, or they got 3 or 4 or 5 homes, or 2 or 3 jets, or whatever the deal is, right? But the reality is that doesn't fill me up. You know, what's always filled me up, even when I was, and I got the fancy stuff. Look, I'm not bouncing on the fancy stuff. I like nice things too, like anybody. But when is enough, right? When do you have too many nice things and find out the well is empty? You, the vessel. And for me, like, I want to help people. I've always wanted to help people. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to help people, particularly after my dad died, because I wanted people to help me. And maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe it comes from some wound, some early, maybe not a wound, maybe it was always there, and the loss of my dad, and realizing that I needed uncles to fill in the spot, the mentorship, and the almost like a life scholarship, a coach. I needed a coach. I needed attention in school, and I didn't get it. Maybe that's what like spurred this, dude, I'm gonna help people. You know, I talk about being other people's uncle. People call me Uncle G. Literally, I don't care if you have any money or not. Okay, I already got mine. My money's so right, and I'm grateful that my money's right. I want to help other people get their money right. I talk about money a lot because, you know, the school system that I went to, all the way through college, an accounting degree, there was never a discussion about money. And for me, I'm trying to fill the gaps in between your education from your parents and, that guy's upset, miseducation, whether it be at church or school or home. Don't talk about money. You don't need money. Money won't make you happy. Money is the root of all evil. All these things that we've been taught. I'm here. I talk to you about money every day because nobody told you the truth about money. Dude, you need money. You don't need money to buy sparkles in a roof. That's just dumb. It's beautiful. It's nice. But how many you need? How many do you really need? You know, and this is what me and my wife talk about all the time. Okay, what is our purpose? And my purpose is to help people. My goal is to wake people up. I got a very strong message. It agitates some people. I know I got a style that doesn't accommodate everyone, but I'm trying to break through all the noise. You know, you got a lot of noise in the world. Got a lot of garbage in the world. Most of it's just putting people to sleep. So when you hear me yelling, showing off, dude, I'm just trying to get your attention. My purpose is to wake you up, okay? I want to help you. I want to help as many people as I can. I'm getting ready to go into a sales meeting right now. There's going to be 75 people in this meeting. This is my office. This is my group. We have another 150 people in the field in my real estate company. For too many years, I stayed small. I stayed little. I needed somebody screaming at me. I needed somebody to tell me the truth, like, blow up, dude. You got to blow up. But you need a purpose to do that, okay? My purpose is to help people. I want to go down not for the money that I made or the books that I wrote, but the people I helped. And I want you to be one of them, okay? My purpose is to wake you up, to give you the truth, to keep you on the path. If you're in India right now, you're in South America, you're in China, you're in Hawaii, I don't care where you live, your race, your color, your religion, I will help you. Okay, I will help you. I don't need your money. I need your willingness to change your life. That fills me up more than any amount of money, fills me up more than a plane, fills me up more than a car. I want to be responsible for more than just myself, my wife, and my kids, and my 75 employees here, my 150 out on the road in the real estate. I want to do more than just something for myself. I want to help others. So if you're one of those people and I can help you, let me know how in comments. How can I help you? What program do you need? Do you need something on sales, marketing, social media? Do you need a bigger network? Do you need some help in money? I got plenty of programs. I'll give it to you if I need to, okay? God bless. Be great.
Everything that matters in life must be built. Woo! Let me tell you, that was worth the whole trip. If it's a business, it's got to be built. If it's a family, it's got to be built. If it's a marriage, it's got to be built. If it's a relationship, it's got to be built. You will not have success waiting on these microwave relationships. Everything in life, build. You have walked away from things saying they weren't finished, they weren't supposed to be. You left people and said they weren't ready, they weren't supposed to be. You have to build a boy into a man. You have to build a wedding into a marriage. You have to build a house into a home. Build it.
You know, we live in a world where opposites are in conflict and we're in the middle. There's the pull to do good and the pull to do evil, to do what's right, and the pull to cross the line. That bit of warfare goes on even in our own head, our own consciousness. When I was a little kid growing up, I remember this cartoon of a little boy, and it showed this little boy with a little devil on one shoulder and a little angel on the other shoulder. The little devil said to the little boy, "Go ahead and do it, it'll be okay. It'll be fine, go ahead, go ahead." And little angel saying, "No, no, no, don't do it, don't do it." Little devil said, "Yes, go ahead." Little angel voice, "No, no." And I guess that's part of our life experience. It's part of the adventure. The old prophet said, "Love good and hate evil." And if we become educated in that way, knowing when the voice of temptation is not the right road to take, we make some better choices. When I got up this morning, a little voice said, "You really don't have to do your exercises today. You could skip today. You've got some work to do." And I got in at about 1 o'clock this morning on my airline flight from Colorado Springs. But as recently as this morning, the little voice said, "You don't have to do them this morning." But I well know that if I postpone a day, sure enough, I've got to make up for it somewhere. Maybe do a modified version if I don't have quite enough time, but don't let it just go. But we all have that. You know, that's fairly constant, what voice to listen to. I guess part of the answer is not to become a victim of yourself. Beware of the thief on the street that's after your purse, but also beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise. The little thief in your head that says, "You're too tall, you're too short, you've never done it before, it's not going to happen for you. Others can find this book, you can't find it. If you found it, you probably wouldn't read it. If you read it, you probably wouldn't understand it." This is a constant bit of warfare going on inside of our head. So we all have to deal with that. But what I call that in these experiences is the great adventure. It seems as though God has designed human life and his own existence as a bit of adventure. First creating all the angels according to the storyteller. And we might surmise, what was that for? Maybe he didn't want to be alone, or maybe he wanted to create some kind of adventure for himself. Made one of the angels, the storyteller says, the most famous, the most beautiful, the leader. And finally Lucifer gathers up a third of the angels, makes a move on God's throne, loses, giving us a bit of insight, not much detail. I guess most of it's left to our imagination, which is probably what the storyteller wanted to create. Here's a few details and leave the rest to your imagination. So it seems like in the beginning, before the beginning, God, it seems, was interested in adventure. But I guess if you boil it down to something very simple, it says, would it be possible to win if you couldn't lose? And almost everybody says, well, no, it doesn't seem possible that you could win if you couldn't lose. So there has to be an adventure in order to have a victory, in order to have a win, in order to overcome, in order to create something of value. You must keep pulling positively against the negative forces, but that's what creates the adventure. If you took a football today and walked out to the football stadium, put it under your arm and crossed the goal line, would we all cheer and call it a touchdown? And the answer is no. It's not a touchdown until you face the 300-pounders who want to smash your face in the turf. And if you can muscle by them, dance by the secondary, cross the goal line with the football under your arm, now we call it a touchdown, maybe a championship. But not without the conflict. But that's a good phrase. Opposites are in conflict and we're in the middle. And on any given day or occasion, that conflict can occur. There's an interesting Bible story that says there were two nice people, according to the storyteller, and it says, however. It's an interesting word, and that's where the adventure begins. However, one built his house on the rock, and the other built his house on the sand. Nice people can make foolish decisions about the future and then suffer the consequences, especially when the storm comes. So the key is to try your best. So many questions are not a matter of morality. It's a question of being careless or careful, being cautious rather than reckless, but not too cautious. So it's kind of an interesting challenge. If you were so cautious driving on a two-way highway, every time a car came your way, you were troubled about thinking whether or not he was going to stay on his side of the line, that you pulled off the road, wait for him to pass, then got back on the road and continued your journey. We would call that a bit too cautious. It may take you 2-3 days to get to your destination. So you say somehow when the traffic's coming your way on a two-way highway, you must trust at least the law of averages that says, I have a pretty good chance of arriving, even though there's not a guarantee that 1 out of 1,000 coming my way, I'll cross the line and it'll be the end. So we do have to be cautious, but not too cautious, and let those daily experiences lead us into a better life, a better month, a better year. I arrived on an airplane flight once, and the flight attendant came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, you have now completed the safest part of your journey. From now on, it gets dangerous. Fasten your seatbelt. I thought that was interesting. You've now completed the safest part of your journey. According to statistics, for the miles covered, it's the safest way to go.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again. Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
Key phrase, faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. And that's how things exist. How did this hotel get here? Someone saw it while the property was vacant. You say, well, is it possible to see this hotel when it isn't here? And the answer is yes, of course. If somebody cannot see it when it is not here, then it will never be here. So it's possible to see things that don't yet exist. Interesting. When should you start building this hotel? This is a good question for your philosophical musings. When should we start building the house? When should we start? And here's the answer. As soon as it's finished. You wouldn't start building the house until you had it finished. If you just started laying bricks and somebody came around and said, what are you doing? And said, I'm just laying bricks. And said, what are you building? And you said, I have no idea. See, they'll take you away to a safe place. So have you got that now? It's possible to finish something before you start. In fact, it would be a bit foolish to start until you had it finished. So human beings have this remarkable ability to finish something and then start it. We've heard the old expression, don't count your chickens until they're hatched. Say, no, we have the ability to count our chickens long before they're hatched. Because we know, we have faith, we believe. We use the law of averages. There's bound to be at least so many. Out of every dozen, out of every 100, out of every 50. So it's possible to see the end and then begin. Start looking into the future of what you would like to accomplish, and where you would like to go, the person you would like to be, and see if you can't get a better picture of the finished objective. See yourself there. See yourself in possession of. I was in business with Bob Cummings, the old movie star, for a while. He said, decide what you want and then act as if you already had it. And being an actor, he could give us a few tips on acting. Decide what you want and act as if it was already yours. Now, the reason we can act thinking that it's already ours is because not only can we vision the end results, we can also vision the beginning of making it real. So we don't start till it's finished, but it is possible for human beings to finish something before they start.
I remember a time when we used to believe in some things. I remember a time when we walked past each other in the street and we spoke. I remember a time that we would help the old ladies in the house with their groceries. I remember a time that the neighbors would look out for each other's kids. We used to believe in something. I remember a time that we were more patriotic and less political. We used to believe in something.
Or we were being our best, then the pandemic hit. Business went down. Children can't go to school. Dreams are put on hold. Sometimes it feels like we're going backwards. It's easy to live frustrated and think, God, why is this happening?
It seems like skepticism is so pervasive that truth is hard to find.
But we're not going to understand everything that happens. God's ways are not our ways. He can see things that we can't see. And just because it's not fair doesn't mean that God is not in control. If He allowed it to happen, He's going to bring good out of it. He promises all things work together for your good. On its own, it may not be good. It wasn't fair, you're uncomfortable, but when it all comes together, you're going to see how it works to your advantage.
A solid, concrete belief system that we can all embrace and agree on becomes difficult over the smallest things. We don't believe in science, no matter how educated, no matter how many tests and evidence is brought before us. We don't believe in science. Then some folk believe in science, they don't believe in God. No matter how God moves and how many times He blesses, they don't believe in God. There are still some people that still refuse to believe. They're willfully blind. They're conveniently blind. They're blind because the blindness makes them comfortable. We choose to be blind. We have reduced God down to the universe, failing to recognize that God created the universe. We now worship the creation more than the creator, and we pray to the things God made rather than to the God that made them. We used to believe in something. We used to have some ideals and creeds. But today we are in a time of skepticism. Everything is met with a challenge.
The difficulty, the delay, the betrayal was all instrumental in you reaching your destiny. But none of us like bad breaks, loss, delay. But without that difficulty, you couldn't become who you were created to be. It may look like a dead end, but really it's setting you up for promotion. That person that left you, it was hurtful. God moved them out of the way so He could bring someone better. But that struggle was difficult. You didn't do anything wrong, but you had opposition at work. Your child wouldn't do what's right. It wasn't fair, but what you couldn't see is it was growing you up, developing your character, getting you stronger, more confident, more determined. Without it, you wouldn't be prepared for the blessing, the increase, the new levels that are coming your way. You may not understand what you're going through. You could live worried, discouraged. Try a new approach. God, I don't understand it, but I trust you. I know you're in control. You're working all things for my good. So I'm not going to live upset. I'm going to stay in peace, knowing that you will get me to where I'm supposed to be.
It's a hard job to preach anymore because preaching is based on faith, and faith has gone out of style because we don't believe. We don't believe in anything. They don't believe in parents. They don't believe in structure. They don't believe in respect. They don't believe in order. People have babies, leave them in the trash can. They don't believe in raising children. We used to believe in something. We're living in an era of skepticism. Truth is optional. It's your opinion. It's whatever you choose for it to be. Alternative truths, alternative realities. We used to believe in something. I'm not shocked that unbelievers don't believe. That's why they are unbelievers. But I'm shocked sometimes to recognize that the skepticism that was outside the boat has crept through the pores of the boat. Somehow it has filtered through the pitch and got inside the ark, and now you have to believe. This spirit of skepticism that has attacked our generation, has attacked our age, has led to unnecessary death, unnecessary murder, unnecessary pain, the lack of solidarity, the accentuation of instability and anxiety, because when you don't have a truth to anchor yourself to, you're just floating around in the sea of an abyss of ideas, each one contesting the other one. It has led to arguments and fightings and murders and killings and shootings and arguing over turf, because there is no truth to anchor us. Truth anchors the soul. Truth holds us down. Truth opens up revelation. Truth opens up doors. It is about believing. It's about believing. Faith is the currency of heaven. It's what it is to heaven what money is to earth. It's what God uses to transact business, because without faith, it is impossible to please God. No matter how talented you are, if you don't believe Him, it is impossible to please God. Faith is the currency of heaven. It is the substance of the thing I hope for. It is the evidence of things I don't see. If I was Satan and I wanted to bankrupt you, it wouldn't be enough to take your money. If I take your faith, I've left you bankrupt. If I take faith, you can't have no peace. If I take faith, you can't have no joy. If I take faith, you can't have no victory. If I take faith, you don't have no power. If I take faith, you don't have no confidence. If I take faith, you don't have no boldness. If I have faith, you don't have no conviction. If I take your faith, you're powerless, impotent, weak, incapable. Your lack of faith is an insult to God. Do you hear what I'm saying to you?
There will be times in life that you don't understand what God is doing. Things don't make sense. Trouble, delays, closed doors, people that betrayed you, prayers that haven't been answered. It doesn't make sense now, but don't worry. One day you're going to understand. God is going to connect all the dots.
Trials to your faith don't come when all your bills are paid, when you got a nice job and you got a nice car and you got a nice home and everything. Trial to your faith comes when all hell's breaking loose. Everything you was leaning on is given away. You're uncertain and insecure and vulnerable. That's when the trial to your faith is come.
He doesn't allow things that He doesn't have a purpose for. That trouble is not a surprise to God. You can't see it right now, but behind the scenes, God is lining up things in your favor. When it's the right time, when it all comes together, it's going to work for your good. You'll look back and say, if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have this position. If that door hadn't have closed, I wouldn't have met this person. If I hadn't have gone through that difficulty, I wouldn't have stepped into this new level. Now, don't waste your time trying to figure everything out. There are some things you're not supposed to understand right now. We can't see the plan of God. If you're always trying to figure it out, it's going to frustrate you. Instead of using that energy trying to understand what's happening, use it to thank God that He's working. Thank Him that you're surrounded with His favor. You don't have to work it out. You don't have to live frustrated over what's not happening, discouraged over disappointments. You keep honoring Him and He'll open the right doors. He'll bring the right people. He'll turn negative situations around. He'll make things happen that you couldn't make happen. His plan for your life is much bigger than your own. If you're going to stay in faith, you have to learn to trust when you don't understand.
Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. All you want is the strength to get through your life. On the days that I feel like I'm not going to make it, on the days that it feels like I can't endure anymore, I think back on my track record for surviving all my bad days. And so far, surviving all my bad days, my track record is 100%. I know a lot of very, very rich people that's miserable, not happy at all. I can bet you most of you are happier than most of the people I know. And I know some very, very wealthy people. But if that's your desire to get more of it, you got to ask God for it. If you want to be happy or successful, you got to ask God for it. Most people don't have the life of their dreams because you don't ask God for it. The scripture says you have not because you ask not. But listen to me, if you up your ask, he will up his give. It's a scripture that's available for everybody. It's not just for rich people. You don't need an education to be successful. I flunked out of school. What God has for you, quit tying it in education. People kill me. I know people got 2 degrees finna go back to school and get another one. If you got 2 of them that ain't working for you, why would you go get another one of them? That's crazy to me. You don't need that. I'm telling you, man, your whole success is tied in your relationship to God. You can simplify this by getting in touch with your Creator. That's your key, man. Quit tripping yourself out. Hey, y'all, don't forget to pray. Don't be ashamed to pray. And don't ever be too proud to pray, because prayer changes things. Thank y'all for coming, everybody.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again. Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
So review your performance, your language with your children. Just go over that and say, have I been too harsh and too strong, too stubborn? Should I learn to be easier, mix more compassion with the tough stuff I have to deal with? Yes. You know, prayer will help sometimes. If nothing else, dear God, help me say the right thing, not to ruin it all by poor communication. Here's the next on my list. Face your fears. I don't know what challenges you might have in going over the stuff we've been going over in terms of amending your philosophy or going back and, redoing some stuff that you might have messed up. Face all your fears. That's how you conquer them. Don't dismiss them, just face them. Say, here's what I'm afraid of. I wonder what I could do to change that. Here's the next one. Exercise your willpower to change direction. You don't have to keep doing what you've done the last 6 years if it's not yielding you the benefits you want. In the seminar I do for Jerry, my mentor helped me to review the last 6 years so I wouldn't repeat those errors the next 6. See, if you're a goose, you have no choice to do the next 6 like you did the last 6. But if you're not a goose, here's what you can do. Pick a new destination and start going that way. You say, well, I've done this for the last 2 years. I'll probably have to do it another 2. And the answer is no, not in a million years. Now, you can change one little degree at a time, or if you want to, you can revolutionize the whole thing. Who says you couldn't revolutionize the whole thing in a week's time and start a brand new direction that will most assuredly help you arrive in a brand new place a year from now, 3 years from now? No telling 5 years from now where you could arrive. Use your willpower to start the process. Just willpower to change a little or change a lot. Anybody can change. You don't have to repeat last year. Clean up the errors. Invest it now in the next year. Watch it make the difference. Here's the next one that's important. Parents have to do it. We ask our kids to do it, but we've got to do it. Admit your mistakes. Sometimes you have to admit them to others. Here's some of the best words in the English language. I'm sorry. The reason why those are good words is because it could start a whole new relationship. It could start two people going in a whole new direction. I'm sorry. Simple, easy. Not easy, but if you get this done, the turnaround can be dramatic. The early years can be big in payoff. And here's the big one. Admit your mistakes to yourself. You don't have to babble about them to everybody in the neighborhood. But it doesn't hurt to sit down and have a conversation with yourself and say, there's no use kidding myself. Here's where I really am. I've got pennies in my pocket and I got nothing in the bank. That's what I said after the Girl Scout left my door. I had a conversation with myself. And I said, I don't want this to happen anymore. Next, refine your goals. I don't know what ambitions you've had up until now, but this weekend would be a good time to start the process. We're going to talk about our goals workshop before our session is over this weekend. Maybe that will help stimulate you to set some higher goals, reach for some higher purpose, go for something beyond what you thought you could do. By the time this weekend's over, you might double, triple, quadruple the amount of goals, purpose, all the things you think you can accomplish. You could multiply that by 10 by the time we finish here on Sunday. Here's the next one, believe in yourself. Yes, you got to believe in God, and you got to believe in the community, and you've got to believe in the possibilities. You've got to believe in the economy. You've got to believe that tomorrow can be better than today. But here's the big one, believe in yourself. There isn't a skill you can't learn. There isn't a discipline you can't try. There isn't a class you couldn't take. There isn't a book you couldn't read. If it's written in some other language, you just get it translated and read it. Here's the next one. Ask for wisdom. This is communication of the highest source. Ask for wisdom. Ask for wisdom that creates answers. Ask for the wisdom that creates faith to believe things are possible. In King Solomon's day, there was the dilemma of two mothers who claimed the same baby. And the question was, whose baby is this? This mother says, it's mine. The other mother says, no, it's mine. Solomon said, bring me the baby. They brought him the baby, and he raised the sword. He said, I'm going to cut this baby in half and give one half to this mother and one half to this mother. And as he raised his sword, sobbingly, the real mother said, no, 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 don't cut the baby in half. Give it to her, who was not the real mother. Solomon says, now I know who's the real mother. See, that is so wise. And the moment was such drama. But Solomon, the wisest of the wise, knew what to do to settle the deal. Ask for wisdom to deal with the challenges of today and tomorrow, to deal with the challenges your family brings you. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Here's the next one, conserve your time. I must learn to do this. How much time have I got left? Not an unlimited supply. How many of these weekends can I do? Not 1,000, just a few, maybe a handful. Sometimes we get faked out. Bill Bailey says, the average person says, I got 20 more years. No, Bill says you got 20 more times. If you go fishing once a year, you've only got 20 more times to go fishing, not 20 years. That fakes you out. I got 20 years. No, 20 times. See, that brings it right down to the real stuff. 20 times. How many more seminars like this? Not 1,000, a few, just a few. So would I mumble and stumble? Would I give you less than my best when I've only got a few more to give? And the answer is no, of course not. If you're a person of some dignity and quality, you wouldn't let that happen. Next, invest your profits. We're going to talk now about this before the weekend is over on financial independence, and I'm going to give you some excellent advice. Here was one of the philosophies Mr. Schoaf gave me, along with Mary Kay. Here's what he said, profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune. Mary Kay and I went for that. Wow. Could we start earning profits while we're making a living? The answer is yes. I went berserk. Here's one now, protect your family. These are troublesome times. Not that they haven't been troublesome times for 6,000 years. At school, troublesome times. I know a wonderful mother and a wonderful father who had 2 boys. In school, they went 2 different directions, and one became a model citizen and the other one went to jail. Wow. Protect your family as best you can from the hidden dangers, the lurking evil one. Here's the next one, live with intensity. You might as well turn it up a notch or 2 after this weekend. Why not? Invest more of you in whatever you do. Be a little stronger, be a little wiser. Step up your vitality, contribution. Put everything you've got into everything you do, and then ask for more vitality and more strength and more vigor. More heart, more soul. Next, find your place. This one now is so important. If you just work on a job, find the best place where you can serve well. And sure enough, they'll ask you to occupy a better place. And if you keep doing the job well, the guy says, well, if I had a better job, I'd really pour it on. But I got this lousy job, so I just goof off. See, that's the philosophy of disaster. So you've got a lousy job. Do the very best you can. That's your best way out. Is not to do less than you could, but to do the best you can. With that philosophy, your life can take great leaps forward. Here's a Bible phrase that says, if you work on your gifts, they will make room for you. They'll make a place for you. Here's the next one. Demand integrity from yourself. You can't demand integrity from someone else. Integrity is like loyalty. You can't demand it of someone else. You can only demand it of yourself. Be the best example of loyalty, and you'll get some loyal followers. Be the best example of integrity, and you'll have people surround you that have integrity. Lead the way. Next, welcome the disciplines. Can't give you much better advice than that, because disciplines create the reality. Disciplines build bridges, build cities. Disciplines. A well-disciplined activity creates abundance, creates uniqueness, productivity.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.